Thy Slaughter soft rock album review. Let's chat about it. Hey friends, what's going on? John here from What's Spinning, here tonight to chat about this debut album of this new collective of PC music, longtime buddies, A.G. Cook as well as Easy Fun. Now, if you know me personally, there was a time many years ago where I was a big PC music head. I still love a lot of those early compilations they were putting out. And I've enjoyed work from both in the past, even if they weren't my, favorite go-to PC music artists. I'd rather go for some Hannah Diamond or some of Danielle Harl's stuff. But over the years, as far as the collective goes, as well as A.G. Cook and Easy Fun stuff, my curiosity has waned a little bit. The reason I've chilled out with my PC music obsession so much is because, I don't know, it just kind of feels like they're hitting the creative wall these days. I do usually like their features and their production that they do for other artists, but very rarely am I wowed by something coming out of the label these days. But I did have a lot of hope for this debut project from AG and Easy Fun, mostly because the singles were really good, and spoiler alert, this album is far from soft rock. This album starts off with Sentence, and if it does one thing really, really good, it really wakes you up. Noisy synths, wonky production, almost like this upbeat sort of synth-punky vibe to it as well. It's pretty exciting. I actually really like the track overall, especially the vocals. The PC Music Collective has done a really good job the last year or so of bringing more human touches to their music in a really tasteful way. This is no different. It's fun, it's fresh, it's quirky, it's bubbly, it's really catchy too. But it also just sounds like a fresh spin to what artists like AG and Easy Fun have been doing over the last few years. The track Rain, this is home for me. I love the glitchy synths, the wonky production once again. But also just how sweet and tender it is. And listen, there's a pretty slippery slope on this album. We're going to talk about some later ballads, but for now, this is really sweet and charming. This brings me back to the early days of the label, the PC Music label, some of those early compilations. It almost reminds you of that Tonight project from a couple of years ago as well. Not PC Music, but It's also completely instrumental, but maybe while it's not as in your face as other tracks on this album, I do have to say it's pretty hyped. Heavy, on the other hand, is one of my favorite tracks here. This is as far as this album goes, it's the coolest, most unique sounding track here. And even if I don't absolutely love this album overall, it's tracks like this that make it worth a listen. I love the more organic instrumentation that we get on this track, like the strummed guitar comes off really well, and the vocal effects on this track, really, really tasteful. It's oddly one of the most emotional moments on the album, and these lyrics, they hit hard, man. I'm impressed. I'm also really impressed by Bullets. I love how downtrodden and gloomy this track gets. It's just so dreary, especially when you bring in the very, old school, broken down, bluesy guitar playing, as well as some of the more emotional vocals of the record. I mean, if you are interested in the bangers, the bubblegum bass of early days PC music, this may not be a project that you're going to enjoy, but a lot of the first half of this record is pretty freaking cool. But I do have to warn you, though, there is a slippery slope with this album, and when this album gets a little off track, things take a nosedive pretty quickly. Like Immortal, I don't know why this track sounds so dated to me. Between the dainty synths and the sugary sweet vocals, I mean, outside of a cool production use here and there, honestly, this track is pretty sloppy. On that Hannah Diamond album that came out a few months back, I was talking about her debut album, and how at the end of the day, while I did enjoy moments, too much of it seemed to be lullabies done by PC Music. I'm getting nightmares of that here. It's bad. And as this album rolls on, the blemishes show more and more. Check out Flail, for example. What even happened here? Like I said, A.G. Cook and Easy Fun on a lot of this album really, really pushed themselves. They are making some big reaches at times, and we're not even getting to the biggest experiments of the album. They saved that for last, honestly. But then I hear a track like this, and it sounds like they are trying to appease the old PC Music fans, but by cramming everything they possibly can into a short track. But A, it's a mess because it sounds like they tried to cram so much in, and B, most importantly for me, it just doesn't sound good. It sounds flimsy. And let me tell you, they really do save some of the worst tracks on this album for last, like Shine a Light. This sounds like the duo really shooting for the stars, like going for this big epic sound, but like falling flat on their faces so hard. I mean, A.G. Cook and Easy Fun are really pioneers of the genres that they work with, but listening to a track like this, I couldn't tell you that. It just sounds dated and annoying. Also, Don't Know What You Want is even worse. And like I said earlier, some of the more organic leaning tracks here are some of the best that we have to offer. Like this is not the case though. Like screw fizzling out. This track barely gets started. This instrumental is flimsy. The singing, if you even want to call it that, is awful. I think it's the worst track here. And Fountain as a finale, I have nothing by this point. I don't know if it's just me being sick of this sound from the duo, but like I almost fell asleep listening to it. I mean, this album isn't enough, and it's not doing enough to like reignite my love for the PC Music label. I wish it did, but it still has a lot of really cool moments on here. Like If I Knew, for example. This is one of the most straightforward pop tracks here, and that's not a bad thing because it's a really, really good one. It's sweet, it's super emotional, and oddly personal in the lyrics. But I love the determination behind the playing here and the raw emotion in the vocals. And most importantly, their willingness to branch out. I love that. Lost Everything, maybe the best track here. It's got that sweet and tender, more human side to PC Music's sound that's been going around. It's got that great pacing. I love the way that the synths build. The way that this track progresses in general is absolutely incredible. And memorable vocals too, and lyrically we get another serious heart punch. And Oh Fortuna, even though it is one of the bulkier and slower tracks here, it's done really interestingly. There's a lot of tracks on this album that I've said I really do enjoy some of the more organic instrumentation. It doesn't get much bigger than this track here. It's great, I love the drama, and I love just how somber it is. It's very interesting sound that I wish we hear a little bit more of in the future, and I could say that for a lot of this album, there's a lot of really great, fresh, new ideas for the PC Music group on this album between A.G. Cook and Easy Fun. It's a really interesting album because they really push themselves. They're trying new things, and I salute that. My only issue is, within trying so many things, sometimes they fall flat on their faces, and it doesn't sound good at all. But for now, I'm interested to hear some more. I hope things are a little bit more consistent next time. For now, I'm feeling a decent 6 on this album, but let me know what you all think down below. If you liked the video, be sure to give us a like, give us a subscribe, and let me know down below what you would like for me to chat about in the future. And until next time, have a great day, friends.